Okay, so let's start. So let's start with Sunday. Sunday we have nothing special. So on Monday, and it is the correct week, yes indeed. So on Monday we will have, so I will monitor the Euro-German Bundesbank monthly report.
Oh, Buber. Okay,
Yeah.
monitor.
Then we have Kent speaking.
Okay.
From the Reserve Bank of Australia. So let's see the content of the speech. Due to participate in a panel discussion, so let's forget. And then I will monitor the monetary policy meeting minutes, but normally we should expect no new information than the previous decision a few days ago. That's it for Monday. For Tuesday, we have the Swiss trade balance, major higher time frames and a bit bullish. Then we have the Euro current account, major higher time frames and a bit bearish. Then we have the CAD manufacturing sales month-over-month, major and bearish. Then we have William speaking.
Okay.
Due to speak at the Capital Markets Conference sponsored by the Securities Industry and Financial Market Association. No, let's forget. Then we have the Kiwi GTD price index, major higher time frames to be defined. Then we have Wilkins speaking.
Wilkins or Williams?
Wilkins. No, we have seen Williams, so Wilkins
okay.
now.
Wrong guy. Yeah. I thought he might have been up for a second shot. Okay.
So due to speak about safeguards in the Canadian financial system at the Montreal International Financial... No, let's forget.
Okay,
And
we're here
then
now.
we will have the yen trade balance, major higher time frames and bullish. It seemed that there was some echo.
Can't hear it, Eusebio.
Yeah, I hear an echo, yeah. On Wednesday.
Maybe when you get your glasses, you'll be okay.
On Wednesday, we have, so I will monitor the Euro ECB Financial Stability Review. Then we have to monitor the Euro-German 30-year bond auction. Not major, but monitor, yeah.
Yep.
Then we have the CAD CPI month-over-month, major higher time frames and to be defined. Then we'll have the CAD core CPI month-over-month, major higher time frames to be defined. And then we will have the US dollar crude oil inventories to monitor. And then monitor also the FOMC meeting minutes. And that's it for Wednesday.
Okay, scrolling down. Done.
On Thursday, we have to monitor the Euro ECB monetary policy meeting accounts. Then we have the Philly Fed manufacturing index, so major and bullish. Then we have Polos speaking from the Bank of Canada. Due to speak about economic change and the path forward at Fireside Chat hosted by the Ontario Security... No, let's forget.
So
where are we?
Where was... Oh, he disappeared. Hang on.
Yeah.
Scroll down. Here he is.
Okay. Then we have the US dollar natural gas storage to monitor.
Oh, I missed it. Okay. Yep.
That's it for Thursday.
Okay. Scrolling down.
Friday, yeah. Friday, I will monitor the Euro-German final GDP quarter-over-quarter, so monitor and neutral. Then we have Christine speaking. So let's see what she has to say.
You don't call any of the guys by their first name, Eusebio. It's a bit sexist. Okay.
So, due to speak at the European Banking Congress in Frankfurt, so nothing special to expect.
Okay.
So
she was up here. Yep.
Then we will have, I will monitor the Euro-German flash manufacturing PMI and a neutral. And I will also monitor the German flash services PMI and neutral too. Then we have a Weidmann speaking.
Okay. Not on a first name basis with him though.
I don't know his first name.
Jens.
It is the same event. It is the same event. Jens, yeah, it is the same event. So no, nothing special.
Okay.
And then we have, where are we? We have the CAD core retail sales month-over-month major to be defined. Then the CAD retail sales month-over-month major to be defined. And we will have the US dollar flash manufacturing PMI, so major neutral. And I think that's all. If you would like to scroll down a bit the calendar. Yeah, that's it for Friday.
Okay, sure. So I'll just save this. Okay, so the reason we do this is so that you've got a list of news events to be watch out for and to be wary of and not trade through. So we recommend that anything, if you're trading the H4 time frames, then anything marked like with the H4 here and above, avoid these. So no trades half an hour prior, 1 hour prior, and close out of your trades within half an hour of them coming out. People that are doing SAM or have got lots of scale-ins on standard, you can be a bit more lenient with that and chop down some of the number of units you've got, perhaps, but not necessarily completely close out. On the 5-minute chart, the same thing applies if it's marked with a major. So no placing of orders 1 hour prior and get out of the trade within half an hour. And this is just simply to stop you getting hit by any volatility if there's a surprise announcement comes out. Haven't seen that much in the way of surprises from news announcements lately, but still be watching out for the pound, because anybody can say something and it can still jump around quite a bit. Okay, on the other side of things, and if there's any questions, let me know. Yep, okay, so the top 10 pairs are these ones. So we're down to, the ranges have dropped hugely again. So the official range starts at the pound Swiss and moves up because that one's over 750. But I've included these three below it as well, just so that we've got some euro pairs in, so we can do some trading. Darian, what's the reasoning behind the pre-news bias? Okay, let me bring that back up. Do you want to explain that one, Eusebio?
Yes, indeed.
I always get mixed up. So the pre-news is this area here.
Yeah. How can I explain that in a very simple way? There are two kinds of factors driving, or two categories of factors driving the market, at least the forex market, but it's similar for the other market, the stock market and so on. So there are the fundamental reasons, or macroeconomic reasons, or factors, and then microeconomic reasons. Macro with an A and micro with an I. So any kinds of information like the interest rates decision by the central bank, like the GDP, which are extremely important economical data, and also all the geopolitical elements constitute what we can define as macroeconomic factors, and so they defined the medium to long-term bias for all the currencies, so for the pairs. And then we have what we call the market sentiment. And the market sentiment are all smaller events which can influence the market, like the news releases, the other news releases. And with the market sentiment, in fact, we may have sometimes directional bias which are different from the fundamental or macroeconomic bias. Because the market always reacts to a news release, especially when we have a big deviation in the news release. And so the bias before the news release is a way to define, in fact, what the market sentiment can be. I don't say must be, but can be. And so when we have, for example, for the car manufacturing sales month-over-month, a bearish bias, this means that that day, the bias for the card could be a short bias until we have the news release. And so the bias is valid until the news release, and after the news release, depending on the news release, we have to establish the new bias. But these types of bias are market sentiment bias. So, but now the market, the sentiment does not always follow these pre-news bias, because there are many factors which may influence the market, but they are an important a portion of the market sentiment. So, yeah, Rodolfo, sometimes the max bias may conflict with the pre-news bias. Yes, indeed. Because as you have seen, very often the market does not always seem to react logically to a news release. Sometimes we have on a specific currency an excellent news release, and the market moves in the opposite direction, because there are other factors which are taken into account by the big boys, in fact. This is why the market sentiment is always the most important, difficult aspect of the market. And this is why also we have, before a news release, in the case we have a big surprise, to also observe if the market has not already anticipated or not that news release. So, and this is why the news release analysis is so complex. So.
Okay, and just to add to that, that's Eusebio wraps them all up in his pair bias advantage spreadsheet, which we'll sort of point to shortly as well. So it was a nice explanation, Eusebio, without the sales. Okay, hi Law, and let's plow on. So from the, let me come back over here. So we've got the 28 majors listed in as average daily dollar range, and you can see at the beginning of the year they started off at $1,300 in February. Average range went up to immediately, well, it didn't immediately, but to the middle of the year when Brexit was messing around a lot, dropped down to $750, pretty much half what it started out with. And this I was complaining about at the beginning of the year because the ranges were so small, about a third of what they have been in the past. They started to build up as Brexit started to unwind down here, and now they're beginning to, let me pull this down, it's getting a bit big. Now they're beginning to get a bit smaller with less news coming out. Things seem to have quietened down quite a bit in the UK, so there's not as much pound sort of tramping around the place, which isn't good for trend movements. It just means the price kind of goes flat mostly, so we have to be a lot more careful. Luckily, Eusebio is working on something which might be able to help with that eventually when it comes out. So, so rather than following trends, maybe we'll be able to do some scalping if the ranges are quite tight like this. And so what I've done is I've grabbed these ones here. How far down did I go? I think it was that far. So I've grabbed 9 of the pairs, even though they're under $600, not much of a range, and put them over here into this list so that Eusebio can run his magic and match up the, what do you call it? The top 10s with the average with the daily news so that we get some idea on perhaps even better pairs to monitor for a particular day. So you save a few.
This, of course, is not a guarantee that these pairs will move, but in fact, we increase the odds to have moving pairs. So.
Okay, hang on. Let me just. All right. Okay, I'm ready. So on Sunday we have nothing, and on Monday we have nothing. So we've got these three.
Yeah, but you can expect, you can expect a little more, so expect. So the first day we'll have the pound Kiwi or pound Aussie.
Yep.
Then the pound yen.
Yep.
And then the pound CAD.
Cool. And so for Tuesday, because Tuesday starts after 5 p.m. on Monday, we're looking down here for any major items, and there's nothing on Monday, so there's nothing left over from Monday. But on Tuesday we have the Swiss.
We have the Swiss,
Euro.
Okay. The Euro, okay.
CAD.
The CAD, okay.
Maybe the Kiwi.
We will add, it is a tentative, so we don't know exactly when, so we will consider the Kiwi for the Tuesday and Wednesday, so here the Kiwi and the Kiwi, okay.
Because this is based on kind of not New Zealand pricing, New Zealand timing, so generally happens in a US session.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we will have for the first pair the Euro Kiwi.
Done.
Then we can, it's a little more complex day, so because we have, can you remind me what is the news on the Euro, Chris, please?
Sure. Current account.
Current account. Yeah.
And trade on Swiss and just manufacturing on the others.
Yeah, so we can consider, so the pound Kiwi or pound Aussie.
Yep.
Then I will consider the pound CAD or pound Swiss.
Okay. So left over from Tuesday is the Kiwi.
The Kiwi, so and Kiwi is here and here, yeah.
And the yen.
The yen, so here and here, okay.
And on Wednesday is the CAD again.
The CAD, okay.
And that's it.
And that's it, okay. So we will have the pound Kiwi or pound Aussie again.
Yep.
Then the pound yen.
Okay.
And then the pound CAD, exactly like Monday.
Done. Okay, left over from Wednesday is nothing. And on Thursday, it's poor news week, is just the USD.
So the US dollar. So we have not many choices. So we have the pound US dollar.
Yep.
Then the pound Kiwi or pound Aussie. And then the pound yen.
Okay. And so that was Thursday. So left over from Thursday, we have nothing from Thursday. Yeah. And on Friday, we have the CAD and the US.
And the US. So we don't have a lot of choices. So we will have the pound CAD.
Okay.
Then the pound US dollar.
Yep.
And then the pound Kiwi or pound Aussie.
Okay. So again, this is the top 10 for the week. If you're looking for multiple pairs to monitor, I recommend you just only look at one or two if you're starting out until you sort of get used to how they move. Forget about others moving, just concentrate on your one. Consistency and paying attention to things is better than running around the charts and beating yourself up because you've missed stuff. Okay, so the pound, this is the week's worth you can select from, and then we've narrowed it down to each particular day. And what I'll do is put those into our NewsWatch list once this session is finished. and it goes like this. Okay, so I'll put up all the news events here in case you haven't seen it before, and then there's a list of the weekly list, which is there, and then the daily, the ones that you can watch for each day. So Tuesday last week we can't do it. We'd be monitoring just these ones here. Okay, just to help stop you getting burned out by having to run around the place. The first choices, we've got two first choices. So you can, there's really no strength between these. They're just, these are the ones to monitor first. And if neither of these are moving well for you, then perhaps have a look at your second choice row. That's all there is to that. There's no big deals about it. But Eusebio, the other reason I brought this up was to check with the situation monitoring. So
yeah, there is no change for the moment, so to that list.
Okay, US versus China, Iran, still the same. These things take ages to move. Ongoing long-term, Germany's banking system, Italy's still flopping around.
Yeah.
Okay. China and Hong Kong seem to be heating up quite nicely.
But we never
got so long, but yeah. Okay, so cool. Thank you. You said
no. It's not a surprise for me. It's I see in many more countries around the world that people are